Hi there, this feels alive. Energy crisis, politician debate. Video, UK 2022. Time's down there. The date today is the 17th of October 2022. Here we go.
Government must be very careful it doesn't prize them away. So can you tell us exactly what will happen for households in April? The scale of increases make almost everybody vulnerable, except perhaps his banker pals. What will happen to the most vulnerable when inflation soars as a result of the return of spiralling energy costs? The previous Chancellor never got around to telling me what will happen to business energy costs at the end of their 6-month reprieve. So can the current Chancellor tell me what support businesses signing impossibly expensive contracts as we speak can expect? And will this current Chancellor, as the former Chancellor did, commit to uprating benefits with the rate of inflation? And we also give support to those languishing in the asylum system and end the punishing no recourse.
We've got some UFO alien interference.
Will he cancel the benefit cap and scrap the 2-child limit, which is trapping so many
Also
children
flares in space.
poverty? Where is his compassion for them? Will he invest in renewables, carbon capture and storage, and a comprehensive energy efficiency and installation package? And finally, Mr. Speaker, does he really understand, when looking at broken Britain, the chaos that the Tories have wreaked and the prospect of a bleak Brexit future with Labour and the Tories, that more and more of Scotland's people are looking at the comprehensive independent prospectus set out by the First Minister today and moving towards the vision of a fairer, greener, more prosperous Scotland back in the heart of Europe where we belong?
Well, Mr. Speaker, it's a pleasure to exchange comments with the Honourable Lady. I will look forward to working with her closely in the months ahead. I would remind her that this Conservative government is spending £37 billion this year to support people across the United Kingdom with cost of living concerns. That is possible because of difficult economic decisions that the SNP have opposed at nearly every stage, and that includes large support for businesses up and down the country. But the main thing I would say to her, very gently, is that she cannot claim to be concerned about the economic turmoil of the last few weeks, when the central policy of the SNP, independence, would lead to turmoil for Scotland, not for a few weeks, but for many, many years to come. A new currency, somehow finding a way to trade with the UK internal market, but also the European single market, border checks between England and Scotland, as announced today by the First Minister, a massive...
Scotland will have to pay for it, not England.
That is a recipe for precisely the austerity she says she's worried about. Let me say this. If we want economic stability, if Scotland wants economic stability, to coin a phrase, we are stronger together.
Sir John Redwood. What will the impact of these measures be on the growth rate, and will we still avoid recession?
We publish the economic forecasts from the OBR when I make my statement in a fortnight's time, and I think it's better for me to wait until I hear that. But the proper answer to his question is that what we are seeking is long-term sustainable increase in the economic growth rate, and that is a central policy of the Prime Minister, which has my wholehearted support.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I think the country is feeling a sense of relief. The trickle-down economics has been so quickly abandoned. But there was one element in the mini-budget which the new Chancellor did not address, and that was the issue of investment zones. That is we have great evidence all over the place about how that as a mechanism for encouraging growth and jobs and prosperity has failed from the Thatcher years onward. All that happens is they're incredibly expensive, we lose income from them, they only lead to the transfer of jobs from one poor area to the other, and they are a massive opportunity for every kleptocrat, oligarch and criminal to launder money into the UK. Will the Chancellor abandon that policy too?
Well, I would like to say that I have a great deal of respect for campaigning the Right Honourable Lady has done over many years. against people illicitly hiding wealth and not paying their share of tax. And I do totally support the benefits that investment zones bring, but we will implement that policy in a way that learns the lessons of when models that are similar have been tried in the past, and we will make sure that they are successful.
Matt Hancock. Very much, Mr. Speaker.
Hello,
Mr.
mate.
Speaker, I welcome the return of an ironclad fiscal responsibility, albeit within the most velvet of gloves. For there can be no growth without economic credibility. But will he answer this question? When he brings forward the forecasts in a fortnight, made independently by the Office for Budget Responsibility, will he guarantee now that they will show debt falling as a proportion of our income, and once we have the finances fully under control, we will not be borrowing for day-to-day spending, because we cannot put the nation's spending on the never-never?
Yes and yes.
Ed Davey.
People are already suffering from the damage caused by this government's economic mistakes. Hundreds of pounds now added to mortgage bills, pushing millions of families to the brink, on top of higher food prices, fuel costs and higher energy bills. But despite that, the Chancellor refuses to undo one of the government's biggest injustices: its failure to impose a proper windfall tax on medical profits of the oil and gas companies, earned only because Putin is killing innocent Ukrainians. After so many U-turns,
Wow.
surely the Chancellor can persuade the Prime Minister to do one more. He introduced a proper windfall tax and help struggling families.
Definitely.
Let me tell the right honourable.
Something bigger going on behind the scenes, guys. More than meets the eye.
Profits that are genuine windfalls, but as he will know very well in the energy industry, it is a very cyclical industry, and there are businesses that have periods of feast and famine, and you have to be very careful that you don't tax companies in a way that drives away investment. So we have said that nothing is off the table.
Andrew Mitchell.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I want to congratulate my honourable friend on his statement today, which is both wise and necessary. And there will be great relief across the place that the markets have responded positively to my right honourable friend's statement, not least thanks to his economic leadership and political skill. In the run-up to the 31st of October, will he reassure us and the markets that the Treasury and the OBR and the Independent Bank of England will be working closely together and in total lockstep?
I absolutely want to give that reassurance, and I also want to thank him as someone who has enormous experience as to how the city works for the advice that he gave me over the weekend. I think one of the best things about the economic structures we have is the interaction between institutions which have independence and are able to give independent advice, and Treasury and the government, and it has helped create stability, and I hope that what I've said today will bolster that further.
Thank
you, Mr. Speaker. Can I congratulate the Chancellor on his appointment, and I hope he lasts longer than his predecessors. Well, 5 million people,
hope so.
see their mortgages go up. And the mini-budget fiasco means that on average £500 more in payment, and in London nearly 900. Can the Chancellor assure us that he's going to look at how he can take that additional Prime Minister's mortgage premium off people's bills and take action to protect them in these difficult times? And if he can't, should they send the bill to him?
Well, let me say to the Honourable Lady that we have an absolute responsibility as a government to do everything we can to hold increases in mortgage rates down as much as is possible, insofar as the government has an influence on them through its actions. And that is why I've taken, I think, very strong and quick steps to demonstrate this government's commitment to fiscal
It's very
balance.
serious.
But we are in a world in which, unfortunately, interest rates are going up everywhere, and everyone is having to deal with increases in mortgage rates, and we are thinking about...
Everyone's spending more money.
But I want to make
Excuse
sure
me, I'm tired.
that does not happen as a result of actions by this government.
Kevin Hoffrey.
Can I welcome all the measures in his statement today? Absolutely right, we will look for better value for the taxpayer through spending restraints. But can he confirm any cuts to spending will not impact on capital expenditure, infrastructure expenditure, particularly across the north, and that will deliver on projects that we've already committed to, such as Northern Powerhouse Rail?
As Honourable friend will know, my voice is a bit croaky at the moment because I've been probably talking too much over the last 2 days. But Honourable friend will know there are very important projects that we all care about a great deal. But given the severity of the situation at the moment, we are not taking anything off the table, whether tax increases or spending reductions. But I don't believe it is possible. I don't believe it is possible to have a long-term, credible economic growth strategy that doesn't recognise the vital importance of capital spending.
Speaker, even a screeching U-turn can't repair the damage when we've already had the crash. But when the Chancellor dismantled Trussonomics overnight, why on earth did he decide to carry on boosting bankers' bonuses in the heart of a cost of living crisis?
Because the policy didn't work and we'll get more tax from rich bankers with the policy we now have.
Mr. Speaker, I welcome the Chancellor's statement. If there are further steps that are required, will he do whatever it takes to restore the UK's fiscal credibility?
I will.
Samuel Wilson. First of all, can I welcome the appointment of the Chancellor, wish him well in his job, because his success, on his success depends the success of all of our constituents in meeting the cost of living.
Sinn Féin, or is it the MP?
Cannot be blamed on the government because it's an international. And whilst interest rates
DUP
are going up
party.
across the world, one thing which the Chancellor is fully responsible for is today's increase in taxation, which will take money from people at a particular time, enable them to pay, not able to pay their bills or their investment plans. I assume he has done some economic modelling in this. What impact would you believe it will have on growth and on the burden of debt in relation to GDP over the next 2 years?